The first time I saw them, I thought I was hallucinating. It was past midnight, and I was welding a damaged cargo hull at the edge of the scrapyard I called home. The sky was orange with smog, the kind of color that makes you forget there used to be stars up there. Then, a sound split the air, a deep, echoing boom followed by a gust of hot wind that sent metal sheets clattering. I looked up just in time to see a flash streak across the horizon, something massive tearing through the atmosphere. It crashed in the desert beyond the ridge, bright enough to turn night into day for a heartbeat. I should have stayed inside. I knew better. But curiosity is the one thing I've never been able to weld shut. I grabbed my old plasma cutter and rode out on my sand bike toward the smoke. When I reached the crater, the air shimmered with heat. Metal fragments were scattered like fallen stars, each humming faintly with some kind of energy. And in the center of it all was a ship, sleek, silver, and unlike anything I'd ever seen. Its hull was cracked open, molten at the edges. Then I saw them, 2 figures emerging from the wreckage, each one easily 10 feet tall, their forms humanoid but impossibly elegant, skin glimmering faintly like polished obsidian, armor carved with strange, luminous symbols. One of them stumbled, gripping her side. The other caught her and looked around, eyes glowing faintly blue. And then those eyes locked on me. I froze. My instinct screamed run. But something in the way the injured one fell, the sound she made, reminded me too much of a human cry for help. So I stayed. "Hey!" I called out, holding my hands up. "You're hurt." The taller one raised an arm, and a pulse of blue light fled around her, a defensive shield that made my skin prickle. She said something in a language that sounded like thunder through water. "I don't understand you." I shouted, "But if you want to live, come with me." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, to my surprise, she slung the injured one's arm over her shoulder and followed me back to my garage. By dawn, I'd seen more than any human should. Their blood, if you could call the glowing fluid that, was thick with energy I couldn't identify. Their armor responded to my tools as if it were alive. And when the taller one finally spoke in broken English, it was like hearing music bent into words. "My name is Tirana Vesh," she said. "This is my sister, Kaora. We are far from home." "No kidding," I said. "That's a long fall from the sky. You too lucky to be alive." She tilted her head, studying me. "You repaired Kaora's armor. You risked exposure to energy radiation. Why?" I shrugged. "Because you were dying." That answer seemed to confuse her. Among my kind, no one risks for strangers. "Well," I said, smirking, "welcome to Earth. We do stupid things all the time." For a second, she almost smiled. Over the next few days, I learned bits and pieces. They were soldiers, Giants of Valun Prime, an empire that spanned dozens of star systems. Their ship had been ambushed by something called the Eclipse Dominion, their enemies in a centuries-long war. But there was something else, something they weren't telling me. Whenever I asked why they come near Earth, Tirana looked away. Kaora, though quiet, would mutter things in her language that sounded mournful. I could only guess. They spent hours examining human tools, my workshop, the very ground beneath their feet. Like everything here was fragile, a thing they could break without meaning to. I didn't mind the company. I hadn't had anyone to talk to since the colony layoffs. My world had shrunk to rust and silence. But now, the nights were filled with low voices speaking starlit words. Sometimes, I catch Tirana watching the horizon. "Your world," she said once, "is beautiful in its weakness." I laughed. That's one way to put it. She looked at me then, really looked, and said softly, "You have no idea how rare kindness is beyond your stars." On the 6th day, everything changed. I was outside, scavenging for spare parts, when the air began to hum, a vibration deep enough to rattle my teeth. A column of red light descended from the clouds, scorching the ground. Tirana and Kara ran out instantly, their armor flaring. A figure stepped from the light, colossal even compared to them. His armor was black-edged in gold, his face hidden behind a jagged crown of energy. His voice rolled like thunder. "Daughters of Valun," he said, "you defy Imperial command by entering forbidden space." Tirana dropped to one knee, Kara following. "Father," she said. My breath caught. Father? So this was their emperor. He looked down at them, then turned his burning gaze toward me. "And this creature is the one who harbors you." Tirana's voice shook. "He saved us. Without him, we would be dead." The emperor's head tilted, the energy crown crackling. "Then let him die in your place." A shockwave threw me backward. My chest burned where the force had struck. Tirana cried out and stepped between us, her shield flaring. "You will not harm him. You would defy your emperor for a human." His tone was fury and disbelief woven together. "He showed mercy when none of our kind would," she shouted. "He deserves to live." The emperor raised his hand, energy swirling into a spear of pure light. "Then you have chosen your fate." Kaora screamed as Tirana turned, pushing me to the ground just as the blast hit her squarely. The explosion shattered the air, the ground quaking under its force. When the smoke cleared, Tirana was on her knees, her armor cracked and glowing. The emperor lowered his hand, eyes dimming with sorrow. "So be it," he said. "The bond is broken, the debt repaid." He vanished in a column of red fire, leaving silence behind. Kara crawled to her sister's side, tears glowing like liquid stars. Tirana's hand found mine. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Do not regret saving us." I shook my head. "You can't die. Not after all this." Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "Then make it mean something." And then the light in her eyes went out. Kara left at dawn. She repaired the ship, carried her sister's body inside, and looked at me one last time. "You gave her what our kind forgot, compassion. For that, the stars will remember you." Then she was gone. Weeks passed. The crater grew over with weeds. The government blamed it on meteors again. But every night, when I looked at the sky, I could see a faint streak of blue cutting across the stars, a scar in the heavens that hadn't been there before. Maybe it was her ship. Maybe it was her. Either way, the universe suddenly felt a lot bigger, and a lot lonelier.